Inversions. What are they, and how do you get them under your fingers and into your playing? In this video, I'm going to break down a simple exercise you can use to help you practice inversions and create smoother movements between the chords you play. Let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to the Keys Coach YouTube channel. My name's Adam, and in this video, we're going to be looking at inversions. Now, inversions are so useful as piano and keys players. They essentially help us create much better transitions between our chords. They make things flow, and they're just so useful. Let me give you an example. Here's a chord sequence where I'm not playing any inversions. Do you see that? I'll do that again. It doesn't sound too bad, but you can hear that the chords are kind of like jumping from one to another. That's what I call it when people don't use inversions. It's like each chord just jumps a long way. Now let me show you that same sequence, but using inversions. It just sounds so much more musical, and that's what we're going to work on today. Now, we're actually going to use that chord sequence to practice this. So the chord sequence goes C, G, B flat, and F. Now, there's a second part of the chord sequence as well, but the first part is just C, G, B flat, and F. Now, just as a reminder, what is an inversion? So all you do is you take a root position triad. In this case, I've got C, E, and G. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this C up an octave. So I'm going to move it from the bottom to the top. There we go. That's our first inversion. Do the same thing again. Take this E up an octave. And we've got second inversion. So there's all of them. We've got root position, first inversion, second inversion. And if I invert it again, we're back to root position. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, I thought inversions was where the bass note of the chord changed. And I'll be honest, it is also that. There's kind of two different types of inversions. But today what we're doing is we're just focusing on our right hand, okay? How we can use different inversions in our right hand to create smoother links between the chords. I'm going to make a whole nother separate video on how we can change the bass notes as well. But for the moment, it's just the right hand. So we now need to practice our inversions on each of the chords in our sequence. C, G, B flat, and F. And what we're going to do is we're going to play every single inversion of all of those chords. Now we're going to start in first inversion. Now you might be thinking, why are we not starting on root position? The reason for that is I don't think it's a good idea to practice starting a chord sequence in root position. It's the thing we always go to. It's so easy to do that. It's much harder to actually start in an inversion. So we're going to start on first inversion here. And we're going to go up each time. So we're going to go. I'll do that again for you. The next chord is G, and we're going to start again in first inversion. So we've got our third, our fifth, and our root there. And a really easy way to think of it is that when you start in first inversion, the root note is always at the top of your voicing. So we're on the chord G, and our right hand little finger is going to be on that G. Then we jump up. There we go. So there's all the shapes on G. So let me do it all so far. And the rhythm I'm doing is da 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 da. I always try and come up with little interesting rhythms that just make practicing these things so much more enjoyable and so much more musical. For me, practicing these shapes with a little interesting syncopated rhythm is so much more fun. The next chord in the sequence is B flat. Then we go to an F. I'm going to play the whole sequence for you once more. I'm going to try that now with a little backing track I've created. Let's go again. By the way, I know there's a lot to take in here, so I've put together a free PDF lesson book which contains the notation for all of the exercises we're going to cover in today's session. It also contains the backing track I'm using, so you can go ahead and grab that. The link's in the video description. It's completely free. Go ahead and grab your copy. So now let's have a go at extending out our chord sequence. Now we've already got our first section, which goes C, G, B flat, and F. We want our next section to go somewhere else. Somewhere different, a different location, a different harmonic location. So we're going to go for A minor 7. Now the notes in A minor 7 are A, C, E, and G. Now here's a little trick you can use when playing minor 7 chords, and I'm going to make an entire video on this at some point, but for the moment, you have to find the major triad in that minor 7 chord. And there is one. Watch this. There's our A minor 7. If I take out the A, I'm left with C major. Do you see that? Every minor 7 chord has a major triad in it, built on the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th. And in this case of A minor 7, it's a C major triad. So that means we can use all of those C major shapes we've just been practicing over A minor. And it doesn't matter that we're not playing the A up here because we're playing the A in the bass. And the next chord in our sequence is going to be D minor 7. So what is the major triad there? Well, there are the notes in D minor 7, and you can see if we take out the root note, the D, we're left with F. So we can use our F inversions. And that's what I'm always doing when I see a minor 7 chord in a chord sequence. I'm finding that major triad. So when I'm seeing A minor 7, I'm really thinking of C over A. And the same for D minor 7, I'm really thinking of F over D. And it just means I can use all of those really nice major shapes that I've already practiced over all of those minor 7 chords. And they sound great. It just makes it so much easier because we've already got those shapes under our fingers. So the next chord in our sequence after the A minor 7 and the D minor 7 is going to be a B flat, and then to an F. Let me just play that all for you. D minor 7, B flat, then to an F. I'm now going to have a go at playing both sections of our chord sequence through, and on each chord I'm going to do that pattern that we've learned. So I'm going to start off in first inversion, go to second inversion, and then root position before I change chord. Let's have a go. G, B flat, F. Repeat all of that. That second section, D minor 7, B flat, F, A minor 7 again, now we're going to end on a C. There's the whole sequence. And what we've done there is we've done every single inversion. We've done first inversion, second inversion, and root position on every chord. Now, the next step in the process to take this even further is to actually map out the direction we're going to travel to get to each of the chords in our chord sequence. To do this, wherever we start, we're going to go up to get to our next chord, down to get to the chord after that, and down again to get to the chord after that. So we're going to kind of start somewhere, go up, then down and down. So let me show you an example of what this would look like in context. So say we started our first chord on first inversion, which is there. We need to go up to get to the G chord. So what is the closest inversion or root position of the G chord we can get to by going up? So it's this one here. It's actually G in root position. So we've got our C chord there, and that is the closest G chord in an upwards direction. Okay, to get to our B flat chord, we want to go down. So I'm just thinking about my right hand here. How can I get to a B flat chord by going down? Well, all I can do is just move these two notes downwards. So watch, there's my G, and there's my B flat. Do you see that? So far we've got this. Now I need to get to an F chord, and I want to go down again to get to that F chord. So watch this. Do you see that? It's literally a case of moving those two notes down. And what's really nice is that note stays the same. And it's these things in a chord sequence that really make things gel together. When you've got a note that remains consistent between two chords, keep it where it is. It just adds a little bit of glue and it really helps blend things together. So that's the first section. Let's now see if we can do the same thing with the second section in our chord sequence. So there's our A minor 7 chord, and again we've got this C major triad with the A in the bass, and that's how I think of all of those minor 7 chords. You've got to find that major triad. Now we want to go up to get to the D minor, and in our right hand we're going to be playing an F, because remember we think of D minor 7 as F over D. So where's our closest F shape in an upwards direction? Well, it's there. It's actually a root position. There it is. So we've got A minor 7, D minor 7, we've got our D in the bass there. Now where do we go now? We want to go to a B flat. So our closest B flat in a downwards direction is there. Do you see that? D minor 7 there to B flat. Then we're going to go to an F. So let's run that whole section. And if you remember the second time through on our sequence, we actually go to a C at the end rather than F. So the last time through it will be this. Back to our C in first inversion. I'm going to have a go at playing all of that through with the backing track. Okay, so we're going to start in first inversion, and in each section we're going to go up, then down to get to each chord. Let's try it with the track. Up to the G, down to the B flat, down to the F. Let's do all of that again. Let's repeat that. A minor 7 now, up to the D minor 7, down to the B flat, down to the F. Let's repeat that section. And let's go back to where we started on the C. Yeah, I guess in theory we should be going down to the C like that, but actually I think it's much nicer to end up back where we started. So we're going to go up to that final chord. So there we started each section of our sequence in first inversion. We're now going to try doing the same thing, but we're going to start in second inversion. So rather than starting here, we're going to start there. Do you see that? That's second inversion. We've got G at the bottom, C in the middle, and our E at the top. I'm now going to play the whole sequence through, but starting there. We're still going to go the same direction. We're still going to go up, down, but we're going to start in a different place. Let's try it. So we're going to go up to the G, down to the B flat, and down to the F. Let's do all of that again. Now to the new section, A minor 7, up to the D minor 7, down to the B flat, down to the F. Same again. Up to the C. So we've now got one more position to try. Let's try the whole sequence starting in root position. Here we go. Up to the G, down to B flat, down to F. Let's repeat all of that. Next section, A minor, up to the D minor 7, down to the B flat, down to the F. Let's repeat that again. Back up to the C. So this is something I'd really recommend doing with any chord sequence. Map out the direction you're going to travel. Think, okay, I'm going to start here, then I'm going to go up and down, or I'm going to go down and then up. It doesn't matter what direction you go, but just have a go at actually planning your route, because it's really going to get you out of going to those familiar shapes. Maybe you're someone who always finds themselves going to root position or just wants to find some different sounds, and this is really going to help with that. One of the things people often ask me in the comments is how I do those little shifts on a chord, these kind of things. Rather than playing the chord straight, how I do this. And all I'm doing there is so simple. I'm moving the second up to the third in the triad. So I'm looking wherever my third is, and before I play it, I move it down to the second, and I slide up. And I'm doing that on every chord in my sequence. You see that? So for example, say I was starting here, or I was starting here, or I was starting here. I'm just shifting those notes, and it just creates a little bit of movement. And I can do that on every chord in my sequence. Let me give you an example. Do you see that? I'm just finding those notes, I'm just smudging them. Now the next section I can do the same. And I don't always have to do those smudges at the beginning of the bar. I can also do them in the middle of the bar or at the end of the bar to kind of add some more rhythm and movement into the chord changes. So check this out. You can hear those little shifts. Just add that little bit of extra rhythm, extra movement. They're so useful. So yeah, have a play around with those because they really help things flow so much better. Don't forget to download your free PDF lesson book. The link is down in the video description. And if you want to take this even further, I've also put together a pack containing all of these exercises and backing tracks in several other keys. The link is down in the video description, and all the proceeds from that go into creating more free content for the community on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.